When two skyscrapers in the national capital region, nearly 100 meters high, are demolished in 9 seconds, throwing up mountains of dust and debris, and the country watches it all in terrible fascination, one is forced to introspect what went so horribly wrong. This week on the Property Show, we focus on 5 harsh truths revealed by the demolition of Supertech Twin Towers. Truths which explain the massive trust deficit in India's housing sector. So let's begin with the biggest reason why such rampant illegal construction even occurs across the country. And it begins with the complicity of town planning and building approval authorities, which get away with hardly any accountability. The fact is, Supertech has been crying hoarse saying that the Twin Towers were approved by Noida Authority, which the Supreme Court endorsed in its demolition order of 2021. Now, Special Investigative Team or SIT found 26 officials of Noida Authority who gave approval to the Supertech Group's changed building plans, but only 4 of them in service were suspended. No action was taken against the others because they had retired, including the then CEO of Noida Authority. Now, not so long ago, the country's largest builder, we know, DLF, was fined a massive 630 crore rupees by Competition Commission of India for building extra floors in its project Bel Air. The residents of the Merlin project by M3M complained that the builder built an extra floor, and the builder claimed that he had got all approvals from the Department of Town and Country Planning of Haryana. Last week, after the demolition, Mumbai High Court had to pull up a builder by the name of Integrated Realty Projects for starting construction on a 6,000 square meters plot reserved as a playground. Not so long ago, National Green Tribunal or NGT slapped a 139 crore fine on 2 buildings, Mantri Tech Zone and Core Mind Software, for starting construction before getting environment clearances. The judgment, however, does not hold officials who issued licenses and permissions accountable. Now, the fact remains, builders gobble up green zones marked as playgrounds, parks, parking areas and build extra floors with absolute impunity and in absolute collusion of the local authorities. Now, let's ask a simple question. Why do builders commit so much fraud? Why do they cut corners at every opportunity? Their own greed. Yes, but they are also the ATM machines for a corrupt system which does not give approvals without graft. Check out the most recent NDTV expose on Karnataka's bribe-paying contractors, in which one of the ministers alleged by contractors as taking hefty bribes is Karnataka's Housing and Infrastructure Minister. The fact that at every stage of real estate, when land is converted for residential or commercial purposes, or for the many clearances that a project needs, the builder inevitably has to pay off a chain of approving authorities and corrupt politicians. CREDAI has been raising the matter time and again that despite India's commitment to ease of doing business, the wheels of approval are slow and grinding, especially at the city level. Every approval delay and the bribes paid for it only raises the cost of the end product, which is the home for the home buyer. Take a simple benchmark of what rental yield can you earn on a flat today. Not more than 2 to 2.5% and at best 3%, which is abysmally low. Now, this simple yardstick used globally tells you that home prices in India are inflated. In the more developed economies, on a 1 crore home, you would easily get rents of 7 to 8 lakh rupees per annum. In India, at best, you would get 2 to 2.5 lakh rupees. As I see it, this is the real cost of delays and corruption entirely borne by the home buyers. And that brings us to number 3 of the glaring truths of Indian real estate, the role of the banks and financial institutions in this holy mess. Check out the Twitter line of stuck home buyers and see the anger they have against the biggies of housing finance companies for forcing them to pay EMI and interest in long stuck projects like JP and Unitech, to name a few. Home buyers continue to pay EMI and interest even after the projects are abandoned or stalled because banks and institutions have disbursed loans to the builders either upfront or at one go without verifying the actual status of the projects. For financial institutions, home loans, on the other hand, are the safest loans to give. Consider this. The total non-performing assets or bad loans of India's banking sector as of March 2022 stood at 5.9% according to report by CareEdge. But Guess where banks have the lowest bad loans or defaulters? In retail loans, which are dominated by home loans. Now, these bad loans are just at 1.8%. So, while large corporations continue to default, it is the individual home buyer fearful of losing his or her credit rating and scared of the chase by recovery agents who continues to pay EMIs with no homes in sight. Now, come to the painfully slow wheels of justice. It took 10 long years for the citizens to win the Supertech case with over 30 hearings. Senior citizens who fought this battle say they travelled to Allahabad High Court for hearings from Noida and many a times at a short notice, unreserved in trains. JP home buyers are still stuck after 12 years. The case is now with NCLT and pending there. Unitech buyers, monthly serenity. All buyers are fighting legal battles for over a decade in stuck projects. Last but not the least, RERA, or the Real Estate Regulatory Act 2016, which was meant to provide relief to home buyers and bring transparency to the sector, is at best struggling to do its job. The regulatory authority in every state is meant to register projects after checking for all necessary land and building approvals, maintain a website with all approved projects, which public can access to know the status of the project construction. It should also be raising red flags for delays and defaults. Now, RERA has the power to order refund, interest and penalty, but home buyers have time and again gone on record to say that there are delays on taking up cases in RERA, delays in publishing orders, and when it comes to taking punitive or coercive action against defaulting builders, the orders either don't get executed smoothly or in many cases are not implemented on time. So let's kickstart the discussion with our two guests. Aditya Parolia, Supreme Court lawyer representing many stuck home buyers, and Ashwinder R Singh, a real estate veteran and author of the best-selling book, The A to Z of Residential Real Estate. Aditya, tell me, are these 5 truths the best summary of why there is such a big trust deficit in India's real estate, or have I missed out some? Please enlighten us.
I don't think so. Anybody could have put it better, Manisha ji. You have actually summed up all the issues and grievances of an innocent and distressed buyer in these 5 points. Today, buyers are getting hit from every corner. They are not getting their houses. There's a huge delay. There are projects which have been abandoned and there's no hope of them getting completed. Thereafter, there are EMIs. There are projects in which banks have disbursed around 90% of the money at the very initiation, naming them as subvention plans or by different innovative schemes. And builder had promised to pay these pre-MIs, but now that builder has defaulted. Banks have come after the home buyers. They are sending recovery agents. They are serving them notices from different parts of the core of India. In fact, in one matter, notices are coming from Jaipur for a project stuck up in Delhi. So then there are other issues. Okay. Whereby he has to go to court.
So Aditya, I understand the banking aspect of it. In fact, I'm going to touch upon the High Court ruling, Delhi High Court ruling, that you want to give some home buyers at least respite. But let's start with a very big, everybody's mentioned that Noida authority was complicit in the approvals. But tell me, does not bother the authorities or the finance ministry that only 4 officials were suspended for something as big as giving wrong approvals for these twin towers? According to me, who is holding authorities accountable? That's my biggest question. Are you as a lawyer holding them accountable every time you take up a case?
Absolutely. In such matters like Supertech, you cited, Merlin, you cited, or DLF, authorities are to be held liable. It is just by suspending 4 junior officials would not do the job. We all know that things travel up from the topmost order and then they are executed by the junior most rank. But the corruption today in these authorities is at such a wide scale that any thing can be arranged or settled by these builders by reaching out. I can't use that word, but of course we all know that by giving money or using different tactics. That
Okay.
is the
It's a reality. It's a reality.
It's a
All right,
reality.
let's come back to the solution a little bit later. Ashwinder, NDTV expose talks about the state that you come from, and you're actually heading a real estate company. They're saying that graft has gone up to 40% of the project cost, and as I've explained it, that this cost is ultimately borne by only the home buyer. Would you agree that this is where the biggest problem lies? The nexus between developers, developing authorities. Even if there is no nexus, developers have no choice but to pay to authorities to get any clearances for any projects.
Manisha, see, you understand this as well as I do, that India, every state is a different micro market. The rules, regulations, laws pertaining to real estate development are different. There are issues, there have been issues, but if I have to look at it from a perspective, say if I look at it from Bangalore, Bangalore is by far the cleanest market to operate in, and I haven't seen any issue where we have to really go through these kind of problems. There were problems, but in the last couple of years, I have definitely seen a great cleanup. Most of the issues that you are highlighting are from a one particular micro market, not even north, that is Noida, which everybody knew has been infested. Yes, it is not a complete cleanup, but if I don't have to look at the rear view mirror and if I look at it forward, the Twin Tower episode is a big solution to the problem, which has got everybody on their toes and figured out that the Indian judiciary is going to intervene if there is something wrong that is going to happen. So if I look at it positively, I think this show itself that you're doing is a great show, and I'm happy to be part of this show because we want to work in a much more cleaner environment, and there are certain developers which you know are doing a fabulous job. Especially in the south and in the west, and some in north as well. I would not want to paint it red, everybody red, but this action has made everybody stand up on their toes and realize that now there are going to be punitive actions which are going to be, they won't be able to actually withstand the shock that these punitive actions can be given. So
Okay.
I think going forward, this is something that we should welcome and maybe look at it from something that in future we are going to see a much better real estate happening in India.
So are you saying that approval delays by authorities or graft for project approvals are simply not there in Indian real estate anymore? That those two
No,
issues
I'm
are
saying
being
they are
taken care
there.
of?
I'm saying they are there, but there are areas where they are far more, and then there are areas where it is manageable. Those things.
What do you
have
mean
been
by
reduced.
manageable, Ashwinder? What is manageable? Should the standards not be as high as, if you're talking about ease of doing business, let's have all the approvals cleared in 30 days or even lesser, and do not ever require to pay even 1 rupee graft. I don't think anybody is close to that in any state or any city.
Manisha, see, we are being regulated only for the last 6 years in India through RERA, and 6 years for a regulation to come in the most disorganized industry. Real estate is still not called an industry. Please, let's understand that. It still has an infrastructure status. So first of all, there is a big shout out that we need to call real estate an industry for it to operate as an industry and compliances to fall in place in the right manner and get governed by the corporate law board. So it is very important that we get real estate as an industry status and not just as an infrastructure status.
Well, I hope that just one nomenclature will clean up the industry, but I buy your point that regulation is only 6 years old, it takes time. Having said that, Ashwinder, and I will go to Aditya a little bit later, explain to me why our rental yields continue to remain at 1.5–2%. Are we saying that historically, because the capital costs are inflated because of black money? Come on, you've written a book, so you must know the answer to this. But after demonetization as well, we have not been able to get rental yields in this country to go up for residential real estate above 2–2.5%. Our capital appreciation is as low as 3–4%. So there are prices which are inflated. Tell me, when does this inflation come about in the prices? that it
This-
becomes unaffordable for the common man.
This is
I'm
my-
not saying it's builders alone who are doing it. I'm saying that
absolutely.
the whole market is set to wrong pricing if your rental yields are as low as 1.5% to 2%, and they are.
Absolutely, this is a brilliant and a very important question. I will first answer the capital appreciation part, and then I will come to the rental yield, because I differ with you on the rental yield, and I will give you some data which might, motivate you to kind of understand it from that perspective. Capital appreciation is a function of supply and demand, and there has just been too much of supply that has been there in the residential market. It is only in the last 2 years, when the ready to move in inventory got consumed, that we see 5 to 6% of capital appreciation coming in. There is a huge supply which got consumed, and I think the capital appreciation is not going to be much even in the coming 3-4 years, 5 years. It is going to be between 4 to 7%. However, Gurgaon has seen a capital appreciation of 15% in the last 1 year.
Ashwinder, because it had seen actually a depreciation before that. So let's not let's not splice figures in a way to suit the narrative. 15% has been in the last 1 year, because that was a market where actually luxury housing cracked from 10,000 rupees per square foot on golf course extension to 7,000 rupees per square feet at some point, and there were no buyers. Okay, I've understood that it is a demand and supply situation and aggregation. Come to the rental yield. Why are we not able to get higher rental yields?
Rental yield currently, at Bhartiya City where I am, the rental yield of a 1 crore apartment, which is a 3-bedroom apartment, stands at 5 to 6 lakhs of rent. So if you are providing a setup where consumers or home buyers are able to be near their office, hospitals, infrastructure is good, the rental yield is going up. In Bangalore, average rental yield now is 3 to 4% in north of Bangalore. I'm talking of north of Bangalore, I'm not even talking of Whitefield and Sarjapur. Mumbai itself is at 3 to 4%. Rental yield again is a problem in markets like Pune, markets like Noida, where prices are a little inflated, and it is also a function of job creation. Now, markets where job creation is good, healthy, like Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, rental yields are much better,
Okay.
Manisha.
All right, we'll come to that, and we will do a larger survey of that, because if you look at any published reports, they clearly say, I mean, I'm looking at South Delhi where I'm staying, and rental yields are not more than 1.5 to 2%. Aditya Parolia, okay, I get by Ashwinder's point that, maybe it will take time for the market to clean up. But you tell me, I mean, are you so optimistic that this problem is very Noida specific or Gurgaon specific? Because I know that you won a case for home buyers where you have got them moratorium from paying EMI in abandoned projects. But there are many still projects across India. Is it a very specific localized problem?
No, it is not. We are handling cases for Kerala, Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Delhi, NCR, of course. Everywhere the situation is same. Everywhere the banks enter into these subvention plans and disburse the money at very first go. And today they are only behind the buys, despite having the liberty to go against the builders, despite having an actionable claim in the agreement against the builders. The only people who are being targeted are these innocent buyers, because they know they will not get any money from these builders and will have to enter endless litigations. The only people who can be armed twisted coerced are these innocent buyers who have jobs at stake, they have families to take care, and they have a social stigma of cases being filed against them. So the banks, they are still targeting them.
Okay, let's take a quick break. We've just got 2 minutes. We'll come back and see how can we avoid another Supertech-like demolition. Stay tuned. We're focusing on Supertech Twin Tower demolition and asking some hard questions on why there is so much trust deficit in India's real estate sector and what went wrong. Aditya Parolia, I've already outlined in the top segment the 5 big gaping problems. According to you, what needs to be plugged the first? I mean, how can we actually resolve or ensure that no other Twin Tower like situation happens? Because recently we had Mumbai High Court pulling up somebody and saying you're going to face a demolition like Supertech Twin Tower if you don't, mend your ways of taking up an entire park and build a building there.
I have just 2 suggestions for this. One, and authorities have to be proactive and check every kind of building that is coming up, and these have to be regular checks needs to be done. Second, our judiciary needs to step up and resolve to give a quick redressal to the grievance of the home buyers. Because please see, Supertech people had to fight 10 years on a thing which are pretty much obvious. These towers would not have been built if stay would have been given on day one. During the litigation, these towers were erected, and today you have to demolish it. See the wealth and the national resources that goes into it. And I agree
that even when litigation was going on, authorities continue to allow the Supertech towers to be built. Absolutely. And that is a fact.
Absolutely. So these two, authorities and judiciary, really needs to step up. You can't let the real estate matters go on and on for years. Please see the amount of money that is required to drive this litigation. Big corporates can do it day in, day out. A common man spending 3 to 4 lakhs on per hearing in Supreme Court is unimaginable. I don't know how they manage it, but today litigation has become expensive and the delays are costing more and more to it.
What about RERA? It's supposed to do its job by also keeping an account of all the registered projects and how they're progressing. What has been your experience, Aditya, on ground with the various RERA authorities?
I'm sorry, but RERA, I don't think so. It is working in the true spirit it was enacted. And before RERA also there were acts, and since they were not acting up to it, each state has its own act, its own act. But RERA was brought into so that something can be done, a robust mechanism will be done. It's a beautiful act, but the intention to implement is surely not there. You see, Karnataka, my friend said it is not there. It is absolute. All problems are still there in Karnataka as well. You see Delhi, you see West Bengal, you see Odisha, you see every state. RERA is
falling short. Is it Ashwinder, I would say that yes, RERA is falling short, but not in every state is it lack of intention. It's just lack of manpower, isn't it? Because they just don't have anybody to go and check on anything at all. I mean, they're just sitting in their offices, barely staffed, and saying, hey, listen, we want to regulate and clean up the sector.
Anisha, you're not just a real estate expert, you are a personal finance expert. Look at SEBI, look at RDA, look at TRI, the way they have evolved. Mark my words, RERA in the next 3-4 years is going to be as powerful as a SEBI is in India. We have always had the best regulators in the world. One of the shortcomings that RERA, or the limitations of RERA, is it is a decentralized body. SEBI is not a decentralized body, it is a centralized body. That is why they don't have a problem in managing headcount. Now, when you have a democracy like India, where you have different governments running different states, West Bengal is different, Maharashtra is different, Karnataka is different, Punjab is different, you are bound to have problems and limitations because it becomes a leadership-driven thing.
All right. Ashwinder, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I like the hopeful note on which you've ended, saying just give RERA 3 to 4 years and we will have a cleaner real estate. Well, we're keeping our fingers crossed because, like Aditya said, the colossal waste of national resources, air pollution, dust and debris, and the builder himself now on the brink of bankruptcy, which means another 25,000 homes by Supertech could be stuck, are all something that we do not want a repeat of. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your viewpoints. That's it from us. Thanks so much for tuning into The Property Show.